Thank you for checking out crypto.chartguys.com, the source for technical analysis in the cryptocurrency world. We are proud to announce our own crypto alert system designed to give you the most critical technical trading information possible no matter where you are. Keep your eyes on the market with mobile or email alerts for MACD crosses, RSI levels, and even inside bar alerts for dozens of coins across multiple exchanges. New features and proprietary ChartGuys indicators are already in development. Our alert system is very easy to customize and utilize, so don't hesitate to sign up for the most effective crypto trading tool on the market at crypto.chartguys.com. Hello crypto friends, hope you're having a great Friday and going to be doing a little bit of a different start to the video this morning. We're going to be looking at some lessons from the stock market and Elfin and how it relates. It's a blockchain company and it has to do with regulation. So we're going to talk about this a little bit and how it played out. If you know the story, then you know what I'm going to talk about. But otherwise, it's a very interesting story that took place. If you have been watching these videos for the last 6 months, back in the fall and the winter, I was saying how I've seen all this hype take place in the MJ sector in the US and anticipate a bunch of ICOs, thousands of ICOs are going to come out of nowhere, and a ton of them are going to be scams. And I said this because I saw the exact same thing happen in the stock market, in the penny stocks, where companies, they'll just change their business model. We saw oil and natural gas companies just all of a sudden change, and suddenly they change their name to a marijuana company and they have a new business plan. That's it. And the stock runs based on that information. So that has been happening. You can also purchase a shell, which is just a company, the legal setup of the company that you can buy, the share structure and all that. So you can buy a shell for, $200,000 or maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. And you can do that and then set your business model, set your name so it's catchy. And then when it's such hype and speculation in a market, same as cryptocurrency, people just buy it regardless. And we've seen that in ICOs. It exactly happened, playing out. History repeated itself because, again, doesn't matter if it's the sector or what we're looking at, it's the human psychology that's repeating itself. So a bunch of sharks saw an opportunity to capitalize on an unregulated market. They created all these ICOs, the vast majority of them, and I've in previous videos, I think I've said 95, 98% of ICOs are going to end up meaningless, useless, and disappear. And that's the world of penny stocks. It happens all the time. And that's where I started trading 8 years ago, learning the penny stock world and all of the scams and all of the shady things going on. So here's a company, Elfin, came out of nowhere onto the scene in the middle of the hype for crypto. And look at this start. So we start trading, and we run from the low of the first day was 786. The next day, 142. Those are crypto style gains. Okay. The stock market does not see gains like this. And even in penny stocks, a 2-day gain like that is absolute insanity. So this is listed on the NASDAQ, and then it started pulling back, from the high to the low. Obviously it dumped massively. It gave back 75%. Then it's been doing nothing. And then it broke out of a tight equilibrium pattern on the daily time frame, and the price was running up. So the price ran up. We then had Citron. Citron is a company that goes around. Watch Netflix Dirty Money Episode 3 if you want some insight into how stocks work, how it's all a game that is definitely being rigged. And, we're just trying to profit as traders, riding the coattails of the big boys. But that's a show where you have, just watch it if you have any interest in this because it's very fascinating. But Citron went after some of these companies when they found shady things going on and knowing that the bad news and the bad press was going to dump the price. So now Citron goes around. They have a following on Twitter. They put out their tweet that they're shorting. They point out why. They go on CNBC, and the stock dumps due to all their followers. So that happened here, and props to some of our members. Fiona was looking bearish, knowing we knew the company was a scam. And I put out blockchain videos when the blockchain stocks were going crazy. And in most of the videos I said, these are not companies to invest in. These are the first companies on the scene. They have no fundamentals and they are only for trading. And this is exactly why this company has nothing of substance behind it. It has a name, it has a business, a description, and they don't do anything. So the SEC regulation came in and halted them, but not before we saw this massive dump from $70, and then 5 days later we were down at $8. So essentially an 85% drop. And then look at the last few days, and we were playing some of this bounce because we know it's going to bounce because shorts have to cover, and when shorts cover, they buy shares. It doesn't matter if it's a scam company. I've traded scam companies all the time in the penny stock world, fully knowing they're not legit, but just being in and out quickly, so I am not holding anything overnight. And here on Elfin, we saw the bounce begin to play out. Again, very high risk, high reward, but it was definitely a short squeeze kind of play. They had a lawsuit opened up against them in the middle of it. So it's just a mess of a company. But we halted today, and the entire day today, on the third day of the bounce, after already bouncing 200%, I was saying, the risk to reward is not bullish entry up here. This is playing with fire if you're playing Elfin up here. So people were looking bearish because we were looking for a lower high to be set. But then it came out in the middle of the day, the SEC halted the company. And there's a couple reasons why they did that. The first one is the officers are selling shares illegally and pocketing the profit. Thanks for bearing with me. So Elfin stock halted for additional information as the SEC freezes stock sales. So we know it's a scam company now at this point. The CEO has been on CNBC as recently as yesterday, but emergency freeze of $27 million in stock sales for a purported cryptocurrency company. So the NASDAQ's about to shut them down. They're going to get delisted and they're going to get taken away. And a lot of people are going to lose a lot of money, but I mean, it's saving people down the road without a doubt. So why I'm pointing this out is, everybody has multiple opinions on regulation. And again, I don't even know what my opinion is, whether I want it in the cryptocurrency space, how much I want. So all I'm doing is putting out information to have you, think and reflect on your own feelings and come to some logical conclusions about what your opinions are. So this is just something that comes into mind for me where a clear scam of a company is going to get shut down. People might go to jail, and it's protecting investors in a sense down the long run. So we might see that come into play in the US. We already are with the ICOs. And in terms of, new ICOs taking bigger steps of regulation, knowing the SEC is watching this space. And it's really only standout cases where it's really big in the news. And I'm sure going on CNBC likely did this company in as well, because the SEC, like I have said in the past, cannot regulate the stock market sufficiently. It's way too big. Their resources are way too small. So they go after the high-profile cases to make examples of people. And, when you start going on CNBC, if you're doing illegitimate things, you're going to get a magnifying glass on you, and then they're going to come after you. So this is an example of how regulation in the stock market works and what we could maybe look to what would be happening in the cryptocurrency world to a certain degree if the SEC does get involved with scams and things like that, doing some investigation. Another thing to point out, fundamentally speaking, before we get into the normal technical analysis, is George Soros, another stock guy. So he is one of the big boys in terms of Buffett and Ackman and just big money behind this guy. I'm sure you've heard of him, but if not, you can read on him. Definitely some interesting information, but mega billionaire, and they got received approval to trade digital assets. So that's very interesting to note, and the timing's getting right, in the next few months this year to be looking for the daily bottom to be found and to be looking for good longer-term entries if big money were looking to get in. So it's just interesting to note they have the approval. Again, no information if they've bought anything or if they will. I do believe that when their filings come out that they do share what their position sizes change in. So I believe that cryptocurrency would be reported in some degree, but nothing as of this point, just something to note to be looking at moving forward. So Bitcoin on the daily time frame, the bears are still in control. We're down again right near that support level. The bulls are sitting on their hands and they're waiting for the trades to come to them. They're waiting for hourly RSI levels to get in the low 20s and waiting for that 4-hour RSI to get oversold again. And the bears have had nice opportunity the last couple of days. So the only play that a bull has down here is a bottom fishing play. And the bottom fishing play is when you are playing a support level, very clear, you put a stop loss below that support level, and there's not a ton of risk because where you enter is not too far above where that level would stop you out. So in this scenario, let's say I were to play a bottom fishing play right now, I buy in at 6,595 and I would get stopped out at 6,445. And there would be some slippage there because of the market orders that would likely trigger with mine, but that is what the bottom fishing play would entail. So the 4-hour time frame, very clear, lower highs, lower lows. We had a wall of resistance in the 6,000 or 6,840s and 50s, just couldn't get over those levels and pulled back. So now we have inside bars forming. We're just trading sideways. The bulls are just sitting on the sidelines and waiting for that, final breakdown to get to this support level. And then if we break that support level into this weekend, we will likely get a nice oversold bounce opportunity with that RSI on the hourly down in the low 20s. And like I just described. So inside bar range right now, 6,557, resistance 6,645. And you can see the hourly chart really tight, not a lot going on. Ethereum, daily time frame, same thing, right down at that low, almost broke support. Support was 360. We bounced off 363.33. So again, being the weaker of the name, of the three names, we came close to the bear break, but we're still holding it at this point. The 4-hour time frame inside bar is currently forming, although we did get a bull break here. So here's a nice example. Bull break of the 4-hour inside bar on Ethereum. We cannot trust that move if Bitcoin does not break as well. And that's why that correlation is so significant. And speaking of stocks, SPY, the S&P 500, is BTC of stocks. So if you're used to watching BTC for correlating with other names and you've been practicing that, that can easily transfer over to when you start looking at stocks, if you do, and SPY and watching how all the other names correlate to some degree of strength with SPY, just like we have here with Bitcoin. And that's due to the algos and due to the bots trading. And that's not going to change, in my opinion, at any point going forward. So there is going to be correlations to some degree the vast majority of the time, and it will only break intermittently in regards to news and big volume coming in with certain other coins seeing that attention. That's an opinion. We'll see how it plays out. Looking at Ethereum again, 4-hour inside bar bull break, can't trust it. So we're still looking down at the support right here. You know, it wouldn't take the bears much with what they've been showing us the past couple days. Wouldn't take the bears much to come down to that support level even tonight, you know. So very patient and cautious as a bull. Litecoin on the daily time frame has more wiggle room, more space before we drop down to break those support levels, and that's because the bounce was more significant. So if you have a more significant percentage bounce, then you have more space before you take out support levels. So the low recently right here, 112.15, and then I'm looking down at the low, 109.27. Another thing that I'll do when I have two support levels this close, and if we lose this level of 110.01, the odds of breaking the lower level are very high, and you know, we're going to see a loss of the higher lows. But when I'm using a stop loss level, if there's two levels that are close to each other, I will go below the second level, because that difference, if it's a small enough difference that it's not going to be a big difference in what the trade outcome is going to be, I do want to give a chance for the second support to hold because it's so close by. So that's definitely something that I will do with stocks as well. And inside bar on the 4-hour time frame still intact for BTC and LTC, those two names correlating more to each other than Ethereum, and watching for that break as we head into tonight. So again, hourly RSIs, let's see where we stand to get some anticipation. 4-hour RSI is down in the mid-30s. Hourly RSI is in the low 40s. So if we drop down and break to a lower low on the daily time frame, that's when we start paying attention to these RSI levels, getting to our zone of when we like to play these oversold bounces and lock in those short-term gains, knowing that we're trading against the trend. Otherwise, bears are patiently waiting. If we get bear breaks at the 4-hour inside bar on Bitcoin, there's potential entries there. And same thing. It's exactly opposite when you're looking bearish, in the sense that if I'm looking to buy an oversold dump with an RSI in the low 20s on the hourly, I'm not going to be looking to enter any bearish positions if that hourly RSI is already getting oversold in the mid 20s. So you use the RSI in the same way, just from the opposite side of the field in terms of who you're, which direction you're looking to profit in. So definitely plenty of bearish opportunities the past few days, and it's very comfortable when you have the trend in your favor. Bad entries are very forgiving comparatively when you're fighting the trend, and we'll see what tonight brings. So thanks for tuning in. I hope you have a good rest of your weekend. We'll certainly talk tomorrow as well. Want to do something different for the Do Good Things? If you made it this far in the video, post on the YouTube comments some kind of charity or fund or things like that. Things that, speak to you, and whichever one I like the best, I'm going to select and personally donate to, and then whoever I select will give them a free course. So just feel like trying that out and want to learn about some other things that people are interested in out there. So feel free to post away. Appreciate you watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.